Welcome back. We're going to try to show you how we moved from the RV into a home that had no plumbing and no electricity, but we made it livable. Well, first Danielle wants me to explain the beauty mark that I have on my right eye here. I was drilling with a very large drill, a 3-inch hole through concrete, 8 inches to be exact, and I was in a very tight space. The drill got away from me and slapped me in the face. So safety first, and I'm learning that piece by piece, but it looks a lot worse than it feels. Second of all, for those of you who have purchased the book, thank you very much. It's been a great success. And if you liked it, please leave a review so you can encourage other people to build their own wall of peony. Well, first and foremost, living in an RV made us appreciate living space. So what we decided to do was start off by creating large spaces where the family could sit and enjoy time together. Every night we sit here and we do worship, read through the Bible, and talk about the next day's events. And in the camper, we were really on top of each other all the time. Now, granted, we're surrounded by boxes and construction site and the stud walls, but this was really a safe place and a relaxing place for us. So we immediately put the living room furniture up in the order that it's going to be when the house is complete, and we really enjoy it. So let's go look at the kitchen and dining room space. So the kitchen area, we didn't have time to put up cabinets, and we didn't have the money to buy cabinets, and we had to put in all the plumbing. So what we did was we compromised. For I think $100, $150, we picked up used cabinets and we just set them in place. Now, these won't eventually fit in our place, but it's nice to have cabinets that you can put food in and dishes and flatware and whatnot, and it operates as a kitchen even though it's not complete. And this has worked out really, really well. And as you can see, it has plenty of space. And when we have to work on the plumbing back here, we simply move the cabinets out, work on the plumbing, and move them back in. It's quite efficient, actually. Another important thing for our family is eating meals together. It's kind of old-fashioned, but it's very important for us. And so that was another priority. It was to get this table up, get all the seats around so we could have family meals every single day. Now behind us we have some stuff that's still packed up, it's kitchenware, but other things, in order to get rid of boxes, sometimes we take those large, fragile, or oddly shaped things, take them out and hang them up. Now these aren't going to be here permanently, we still have to put walls up, but it's nice to get these out of the box, discard that box, and have more room for storage. It's also nice to go ahead and light the candles and give it a little homey feel around here. And of course, Danielle missed her Instapot. So as soon as we got power, she pulled out the Instapot so we can do some cooking on this when it's nice and sunny and the batteries are full. So in order to keep the main area decluttered, we used the two ends of the house, the mudroom where you enter, and also the entryway that's not being used right now. So the front entrance is not done, and the deck is not built. So great area to store boxes, and actually we even have a gas stove out here. And it's spread out a little bit so that we can still access the boxes, but it kind of contains the mess and still allows us to have a functional living area. And most of our mess and storage is right back here, out of the way where nobody goes except us. So when we originally were in the RV thinking about moving in the home, we had a priority list of how we were going to do it, what rooms we were going to do first, and then sequence ourselves up into different areas. But that all kind of changed because when you live in a space that you're also constructing, you have to look at priorities from a different objective, and some of that has to do with the construction itself. Many times when you work on a room, you have to clear everything out of the room, work on it, and then put everything back in. So one objective was on both floors, we have big open space to do work. As you can see by my feet, this is a sink top from the bathroom because right now Danielle and I are putting drywall behind the vanity. We need areas like this to cut drywall, to cut boards, to move things around, to shift ladders. And so we started by saying this big open space is going to be for construction downstairs, and up by the living room and dining room it's going to be used for upstairs. Now the other thing is, we finished this wall out right here and stopped right there, primarily to do two things. First, to get these shelves up, because we unpacked about 16 box loads of books. And if you get those boxes out of the way, it makes more space and more efficient. So we finished off that wall, got all the electrical done on that, put the siding up, got the shelves up. And as you come over here, we finished up this wall so we could unpack all these pictures and get my office operating, because Danielle has hers upstairs, I have mine downstairs, and it makes things function a lot better. And then thirdly, we have private spaces for all the kids. Now these are just curtains, but each child has a place where they can go and get away from the mayhem. Now the utility room itself became a storage place for tools so that we could find the tools. When you're working around the house, they get scattered everywhere. So at the end of the day, when people cleaned up, I said, get the tools to the utility room. And as you can see, I have tools and pieces and parts from electrical and whatnot scattered about here so that I know exactly where to go to find that level, to find that hammer, to find the toolboxes. So moving out of the RV into a house with no plumbing, we realized water is a necessity of life. Now the pipes you see behind me were just put in this week, and hopefully we'll get them all hooked up. But we've been here 3 months with no water except what I set up real quickly. Now the first thing was we needed a place to wash dishes and to wash implements and wash our hands, and because you get really dirty when you're working around here. We also have a large table here that we can put our dishes on and put it whatever we're washing on. Now, realize the table is a foldable table, and the stand that I put this sink on is movable. It comes out and I can move it out to work on the plumbing and push it right back in. Now let's go outside and see where that water's coming from. Now unfortunately, pretty was not one of the things I was able to obtain when I was making this water system. You have to cover these tanks because if not, algae will grow in them. And at night, when it gets cold now in the 30s, it's nice to keep the water a little bit warm. But the winds kind of whip this tarp around and knock it around, make it ugly. But there are tanks under here. They're right next to the driveways, so they're easy to fill. We pull the truck up when we fill them. And this is simply irrigation line. This is stuff that you find at Home Depot or whatnot. It's 1/2-inch irrigation line that you would use on a sprinkler system. Comes out of these tanks that are interconnected together, and then this irrigation line comes across the ground and goes into the house right over here. This is the dryer vent. We left the dryer vent open so that we could run lines in for water, a line out to the shower in the back, and this is the drain to the sink. So you can see those lines come in from the dryer vent there and into a flow jet 12-volt pump. Now these are on-demand diaphragm pumps. They're a little bit noisy, but they're typically the pumps that are used in RVs. This is almost exactly like the one that was in our RV. And it's plenty of pressure to run a few things. We only have this sink hooked up and the shower downstairs. And in fact, if you use both at the same time, you kind of lose pressure. But just 2 days ago, we were actually able to hook up our composting toilet too. So we've got 3 things functioning off of it. So I have to kind of clarify, that second line that comes out of the dryer vent and goes downstairs to the shower, well, it's not exactly downstairs. Let me show you what I mean. So it comes out of the dryer vent, goes under the mudroom deck here, goes behind the grill, which is our outdoor kitchen right now, and comes down to the soon-to-be wallapini. So this is our wonderful outdoor shower. Now the kids loved it when we came down here because it is about 5 times as big as that RV shower. And it's quite pleasant out here to take a shower. We have our own little shower curtain. This is key. This is a little on-demand heater that is hooked to a propane tank. And you basically flip that switch, and when it senses the flow of water, it heats the water up. Now in the hot summer, you don't really need that because that water heats up quite a bit. But now that it's getting cold and you're taking a shower in 45 or 50 degree weather, it's kind of nice to turn the heater on. We just keep all our soap and stuff up here. We have loofah sponges hanging from the wall. So it's quite the deluxe version of a shower. And the kids told me when we get our house up and running, they still want an outdoor shower. So I'm going to have to improve on this design and keep the outdoor shower going.
So you'll see above me here is the temporary canopy we installed, and we basically just put a lantern in the window upstairs that lights up this area sufficiently to shower. But the nice thing we discovered is that the bugs are attracted to the window and they leave us alone down here. But meanwhile, we just kind of have a view of nature. Nothing particularly pretty because it's mostly dark, but you can hear the sounds of nature, and that's just the coolest thing. It's really a neat open air shower that we've come to really enjoy.
Like any bathroom, you have a shower and a toilet. And if you remember from a previous video, we showed you the pod. Well, the pod's still functioning. This is 14 months we've been using this, so obviously there's some duct tape on the side. It's fallen off, but we just 2 days ago hooked up a composting toilet inside, so this is quickly going by the wayside. But we have Kyla's little potty, and then we have the big potty, and we have a big container of sawdust over there that comes from the planer in the barn, and it's working great. Before we left, we knew we needed a good stove, and we got on Marketplace and bought one for $50. And the last 14 months, this has been wonderful. We have become extremely proficient at cooking almost everything and anything on a grill, to include chocolate chip cookies, lasagna, roll-ups, bread, anything you can think of. We figured out how to do it on a grill. And this is a nice convenient location right out of the mudroom. It's got shelter on the top so it keeps us from the rain and allows us to have family meals every single day. The water we get from the tanks out front is hauled, and it's not necessarily potable. So instead of buying bottled water, we bought the Berkey. Now this is a 6-gallon water purifier, and it's very top of the line. It's well worth the money, trust me. And we fill this thing about twice a day, so we go through a lot of water. But it's clean, it's potable, and it's healthy. Another thing we didn't have in the house when we moved in was electricity. Well, it is a passive solar home, so during the day it was no issue at all. We had plenty of sunlight coming in here. Now at night, this is worth its weight in gold. All the companies like Ryobi, Makita, DeWalt, Milwaukee, they make these little lanterns that use the batteries from the power tools. So whatever power tools you might have that are battery operated, you can usually get a lantern and even shop lights that go along with these. And if you shine this up to the ceiling, it lights the entire room. We also used headlamps, and sometimes we would take the Blue Eddy and bring it into the house. As soon as I got power hooked up to the solar system, I had to basically prioritize lights. What I did was I put lights in major working areas, like where I'm standing right now. I then went and put them in the bedrooms, and then to the bathrooms, and then things like the larder in the porches and the outside lights. So I just prioritized what needed lighting and what needed outlets. I quickly hooked up one outlet and then began to put outlets where we would most need them, most specifically for tools and for vacuuming. But that's how we did it, and it worked out great. Once the basic essentials were taken care of, water and electricity, we began to look at making life easier, setting up the office here, setting up the office downstairs. Then we worked on closets, because closets allowed us to unpack more boxes and to allow us access to more clothes, because the weather's changing right now and we need more clothes. The next thing, we looked at food storage, which was down in the larder, as well as the freezer, getting lights down there, getting power down there, and on to basically prioritize getting boxes open and getting back to normal life. Well, those of you who have followed us for a while, you probably haven't seen the larder in a while. Well, here it is, and it's coming along. We use this for bulk food storage. Not because we believe in the zombie apocalypse, but because we have a large family and we believe in good, healthy, home-cooked meals. And to do that, you need to store a lot of food. The freezer was critical. We got power down here to the freezer, and it's a big one, 21 cubic feet. We got some lights installed down here. We took these shelves from the Connex and we started restocking our bulk food storage buckets that we use, and they're all labeled. Danielle's very good at that. She's also working on building the shelves. Now this is going to be the permanent storage. These shelves are going to go around this wall and wrap around to here, and then we're probably going to get rid of these temporary shelves and put some of the shelving over there. But right now, it's working well enough that we can start preparing from scratch all of our big meals and store. Look, we have some. We actually have some spaghetti squash here from the garden, so we're already beginning to store some food down here too. So you might have noticed as we walk around the house, we have a lot of stud walls unfinished. The difficult thing about living in a house that you're building is electrical and plumbing have to be done before you can put drywall up. Otherwise, it makes it extremely difficult, and all the work you do, you have to undo. So that really held us up quite a bit. Now, we're about a week away from getting this plumbing done. So once that happens, drywall and insulation and all those final touches are hopefully going to go up very fast. In fact, I'm sitting right now on our composting toilet, and because we didn't have plumbing in, I hooked up that irrigation line to the back of it so we could use it. Well, thanks for watching again this week. The subscribers, we love your comments. Please send them. And those who haven't subscribed, please join us in our journey. It's a crazy one, but it's fun.